Hi guys, welcome back to Doobrey's Day. Today on Doobrey's Day is part 2 of the butterfly or short Cooksaw wand blades. Let's get going. So if you can remember from part 1, we have designed and drawn out the structure of the blade. And what I'm going to do for this part 2 is this. We have some mild steel first. We do have some stainless steel indoors, but I have a piece of mild steel here. The plan is, I've drawn a template on here, so you can see the edge of the blade here, and then on the back piece here we've got the cutouts for where the tang's going to go. Now I'm going to use my angle grinder with a nice new angle grinding disc on there. I'm going to cut this out and cut this out in first instance. That's the first part of the blade. For the second part of the blade, we've got some additional mild steel here, which we're going to then measure. I've got my trusty ruler here. Against that, we're going to cut it, and then we're going to get the forge on, and I'm going to bend it in 2 places, and then drift a hole into it, and then join it together. That's the plan anyway. Now, I may be tempted to try and weld this together. It is only mild steel. I have done some more reading on stainless steel, and I know that you need to get stainless steel flux core MIG welding wire to use that and weld it. So this is my trial. Let's see how this goes, and keep watching, guys. So as you can see, we've now cut that first bit off. Let's just allow it to focus. You can feel the heat off of that. So we cut the first bit off. That's the blade form. And now you're going to cut this second bit off here, which is going to be, well, in essence, the tang. So we're going to cut in. I'll probably cut along and then cut in, cut along and cut in. And see how that goes. Let's have a look. So what you can see now is we've cut the tang. It's hot, so I'm not going to touch it just at the moment. And we've cut the blade form. So let's take it across to the design. So there's the design, and there's my blade form. Hopefully you can see. I'm going to come around the other side so you don't get the reflections. But you can see the blade pretty much matches up to what I was after. So that's the first bit. I'm going to let that cool down, and then I might try and take some of this this colouring off and see if I can shine it up a little bit, and then see where we go from there. That's part 1. So for the next part, I'm now going to look at this hand guard, which goes around here. Now it's 8.5, 9.5, that's 18 plus 11.5. 18, 28, 38, 38. So let's just double check that. 20.1, 28.1, 28.6. So I'm going to cut it. So it's 28.6. 28.6. I think I'll cut it 29 and see how we go. So I've got this piece of mild steel here. Just a long piece of mild steel. It's about the right width. I might make the guard a bit thicker. And I'm going to give that a try. So let's cut it, just cut it 28.5, 29, give it a cut, and then I've got to get the forge out, heat it up, and then bend it in 2 specific locations, and then I've got to drift a hole through it. So let's give that a go. So as you can see, we've now got the guard and the main blade. Now then, I've got one of 2 choices. I can either start forging and bending this. Remember, it's going to go around in this fashion, it actually goes around this way, doesn't it? So it goes around there, make a bend here and then a bend here. I could do that next using heating up the forge, or I can grind this down while I've got the grinder out. I think I'll grind it while I've got the grinder out first. I'll grind both pieces. No, actually I won't. I'll grind the main part. This part I will forge, then I'll grind the surface off and we'll give that a try. So let me get grinding on the main blade. So the way I'm going to grind this, I'm going to go up and down and try and remove some of this texture off of it. Let me show you what we've got now. As you can see, this is only mild steel, so I'm not expecting it to come up really well. And this is only our test piece. I'm just thinking of the techniques that we need to use. So I've gone along the edge, and I'll now go and do the handle or the tang and get that all shiny. And then I will start forging the corners on this piece. Okay, let's do the tang. And that, my friends, is the first part. I don't know if it's hot, so I'm wearing the gloves at the moment. It's very hot at the moment. That has worked out pretty damn well. I could probably do with doing this top part a little bit more. But first part, very, very happy with the outcome of that. Next part is now to get the forge out and forge that guard. And then let's have a go at doing that, guys. Okay guys, next part of the build. We're going to make this handguard which comes around here, around here, around here. So as you know, we've cut the piece of metal out. I'm going to cut 9.5 centimeters, I'm going to measure 9.5 centimeters and I've got to put a bend in. Then I'm going to measure 11.5 centimeters and put another bend in, and that should equal about 8.5 centimeters. Now, our piece of steel is here. This is what we've cut out. We know that's long enough. I've set up the forge. You may have seen this in a previous episode. Got the forge warmed up. I'm just trying to work out how I'm going to measure the bend. So it has to be a 90-degree bend. Then I've got to perhaps bring it somewhere here to bend it the other 90 degrees. So I'll have to work that out as I go. But as I say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. The other thing I've got to take into consideration is where I need to drift a hole to allow that blade to go through. So I'm going to have to work out that. Now I'm thinking, do I drift the hole first or do I drift the hole second? Bearing in mind it's going to come like that, I'm actually thinking maybe drift the hole first. Hi guys, I've just come away from the side for a moment. The forge is now getting hot. I'll show you that in a moment. It's really noisy there, so I won't be able to speak very clearly. I tried drilling and it's incredibly hard to drill, so I am going to try drifting. I've worked out the method I'm going to do it, which is I'm going to take the steel, I'm going to heat it up inside of the forge, I'm going to take it on the side, hold it between my legs with a pair of tongs, and then I'm going to try and drift through and make the hole. This is the piece of steel. That's going to go in there shortly, heat up, and then I'm going to use my drift, which is here, to try and drift a hole. So I'm not going to hold the camera while I do this, I'll let you see what happens afterwards. Okay guys, I've done the hole, which I've now put the piece of metal back into the forge. I've now got to bend that first bend at 9.5 centimeters. Let me show you the diagram, let me show you the metal. It's got to bend at 9.5 centimeters. That'll be my first bend. Then I'm going to measure the next bend and do that. But after I've done that, I'm going to file that hole and then fit it all together. Let's have a go. So I've done my 90-degree bend. In the end, this is going to be sitting like this as a guard, and then I've got to do another bend on this point here going that way. But I don't want to do that bend until I know that this all fits up correctly. Then I'll do that last bend and then we'll have a guard on a blade. So let me go and get my files and let me start filing. So guys, a little bit quieter now, I've turned the forge off. As you can see, I've forged this. I'm now going to try and get the blade to fit in here. So I've got to do some filing to make it a smooth finish. So bear in mind, it's going to go that way. You see, it's not far off already. It's a bit tight on the top there, so I'm going to work on this top bit and get it so it fits. So, hopefully you can see when it's in tight, because I'm going to MIG weld this. It's nice and straight, it's got a nice guard. I can round the guard off in the end and the blade fits. I'm really, really chuffed with that. Okay guys, let's have a look at this blade. So we've done the handle. I'm now going to MIG weld into here and here, and then I'm going to hit on the end after heating it up and just straighten it all up, and then I'm going to get ahead with polishing it. Guys, for my first ever attempt at a blade, it's a prototype. It's made out of mild steel and it's not pretty, but I've learned an awful lot today about how to weld. Terrible welds, don't look at the welds. How to make a handguard, how to make a blade of one piece, and then all I've got to do is put a handle on it and tidy it up with a file. But that is my first blade. So guys, what have I learned? I have learned it's very possible to make your own Cooksaw short knives. It's the first time I've ever attempted something like that. I had to use MIG welding, I had to use forging, I had to use the grinder. The only thing I've got upstairs is a set of grinding discs, which are polishing discs. So I'm going to tidy up. If there's time, I might have a quick polish on it. If not, I'll do it on the next go. So that's part 2. So part 1 was the design, part 2 was the prototype, part 3 will either be using high carbon steel or using stainless steel. Now, so far my findings have said that I might go for the high carbon steel. The reason being, you have to get some specific MIG welding wire to use for my MIG welder to weld stainless steel. If not, it rusts. So I might go for some high carbon steel. Anyway, that's part 2 of 3 parts. So if you want to do this, you can. I'm going to post the plans. If anybody wants them, just ping me and I'll post them up. I can also detail below all of the tools I've used to make this video. Hope that's been useful for some of you, and I look forward to seeing you next week on Doobrey's Day. Thanks guys, bye for now, bye bye.